announcement. We'll be having Harinam this evening, 7 p.m. across from Trader Joe's. It's our pre-Janmastami Harinam. What a wonderful day, opportunity to welcome the Lord the next day on His appearance day. So please join us tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. across from Trader Joe's. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. It's okay. It's kind of Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Kala Chanji Radha Kala Chanji Radhe Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Good morning, devotees. Happy Janmashtami Eve. Thank you. If we can have Christmas Eve, we can definitely have Janmashtami Eve, where it's just as exciting and perhaps even better, just the anticipation, right? And finishing up all of the decorations and your service, and so exciting. So happy to be here in this beautiful hall with all of you, this beautiful temple hall. My name is Manjari Gopika Devi Dasi, and today we'll be reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 17, verses 1 through 10. We'll focus on verse 8. Before we begin, I ask for your blessings that I may speak something pleasing to my spiritual master, to Srila Prabhupada, and to all of the devotees. Let us all together chant the invocation prayers. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim sarvasvatim vyasyam tato jayam udirayet nashta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki Om Jnana Timirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Adwaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All right, so today we're beginning a new chapter of the 8th canto, chapter 17, entitled The Supreme Lord Agrees to Become Aditi's Son. I'll give a very brief recap. We've had some wonderful classes this week. We had an all-star lineup, as they would say in baseball. Yesterday we had Her Grace Mother Nandini, who spoke about, Mother Aditi. And so just a brief recap. Aditi, she's the mother of the demigods. She was distressed because her sons were defeated by the demons. And following her husband, Kashyap Muni's advice, she observed the Payovrata, which is a 12-day vow of subsisting only on milk, offered with full devotion. And in today's verses, the Lord, pleased with her devotion, appears before her in his four-armed form. So if we have a microphone, do we have a microphone? It would be useful. We'll take a look. Hopefully we have it back there, and then everybody, we can read aloud verses 1 through 10, just the English, and then we'll circle back to our focus verse of verse 8. Oh, thank you, Jaishnav Prabhu. Why don't you begin? Verses 1 through 10. You start with 1.
Shukadeva Goswami said, O king, after Aditi was thus advised by her husband Kashyapa Muni, she strictly followed his instruction without laziness, and in this way performed the Payovrata ritualistic ceremony.
With full undiverted attention, Aditi thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in this way brought under full control her mind and senses, which resembled forceful horses. She concentrated her mind upon the Supreme Lord, Vasudeva. Thus she performed the ritualistic ceremony known as Payovrat.
4. My dear king, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, dressed in yellow garments and bearing a conch shell, disc, club, and lotus in his 4 hands, then appeared before Aditi.
When the Supreme Personality of Godhead became visible to Aditi's eyes, Aditi was so overwhelmed by transcendental bliss that she at once stood up and then fell to the ground like a rod to offer the Lord her respectful obeisances. Aditi stood silently with folded hands, unable to offer prayers to the Lord because of transcendental bliss. Tears filled her eyes, and the hairs on her body stood on end because she could see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. She felt ecstasy and her body trembled.
O Maharaj Parikshit, the demi-goddesses Aditi then began offering her prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a faltering voice and with great love. She appeared as though drinking through her eyes the Supreme Lord, who is the husband of the Goddess of Fortune, the enjoyer of all sacrificial ceremonies, and the Master and Lord of the entire universe.
The goddess Aditi said, O Master and enjoyer of all sacrificial ceremonies, O infallible and most famous person, whose name, when chanted, spreads all good fortune, O original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supreme Controller, shelter of all holy places, you are the shelter of all poor, suffering living entities, and you have appeared to diminish their suffering. Please be kind to us and spread our good fortune.
Text 9. My Lord, you are the all-pervading universal form, the fully independent creator, maintainer, and destroyer of this universe. Although you engage your energy in matter, you are always situated in your original form and never fall from that position, for your knowledge is infallible and always suitable to any situation. You are never bewildered by illusion. O my Lord, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
O unlimited one, if your lordship is satisfied, you can very easily obtain a lifetime as long as that of Brahma, a body either in the upper, lower, or middle planetary systems, unlimited material opulence, religion, economic development, and satisfaction of the senses, full transcendental knowledge, and the 8 yogic perfections. What to speak of such piety achievements as conquering one's rivals?
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Let's go now to text 8. That's our focus verse for the day. We'll chant the Sanskrit, and then we'll move on to translation and purport. All right. Shri Aditir Uvacha Yagnesha Yagya Purashucha Tirtapada Tirtha Shrava Shravan Mangala Namadeya Apana Loka Vijnopasha Modaya Yadya Shamna Kridisha Bhagavana Shidina Nata Please chant. Shri Aditeruvacha Yagnesha Yagya Purashachuta Tirtapada Tirtha Shava Shavana Mangala Namadeya Apana loka vijino pashamodayadya. Shamna kridisha bhagavana shidina nata. Shri Aditiruvacha. Yagnesha yaga purasha chutatirtha pada. Tirtha shava shavana mangala namadeya. Apana loka vijino pashomodayadya. Shamna kadisha bhagavana shidina nata. All right, let's move on to synonyms, please. We have a lot of them. Let's say them together. We have them on the board there. Ready? Shri Aditi Uvacha, the demigoddess Aditi said, Yagya Isha, O controller of all sacrificial ceremonies, Yagya Purusha, the person who enjoys the benefits of all sacrifices, Achutya, infallible, Tirthapada, at whose lotus feet stand all the holy places of pilgrimage, Tirtha Shava, celebrated as the ultimate shelter of all saintly persons, Shravan, hearing about whom, Mangala, is auspicious, Namadeya, to chant his name is also auspicious, Apana, surrendered, Loka, of people, Rijina, dangerous material position, Upashama, diminishing, Udaya, who has appeared, Adya, the original personality of Godhead, Sham, auspiciousness, Na, our, Gridi, kindly bestow upon us, Isha, O supreme controller, Bhagavan, O Lord, Asi, you are, Dina Nata, the only shelter of the downtrodden. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The goddess Aditi said, O master and enjoyer of all sacrificial ceremonies, O infallible and most famous person, whose name, when chanted, spreads all good fortune, O original supreme personality of Godhead, supreme controller, shelter of all holy places, you are the shelter of all poor, suffering living entities, and you have appeared to diminish their suffering. Please be kind to us and spread our good fortune. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the master of those who observe vows and austerities, and it is He who bestows benedictions upon them. He is worshipable for the devotee throughout the devotee's life, for he never breaks his promises. As he says in Bhagavad Gita 9.31, Kauntaya pratijanahi name bhakta pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. The Lord is addressed here as Achyuta, the infallible, because He takes care of His devotees. Anyone inimical to the devotees is certainly vanquished by the mercy of the Lord. The Lord is the source of the Ganges water, and therefore He is addressed here as Tirthapada, indicating that all the holy places are at His lotus feet, or that whatever He touches with His foot becomes a holy place. Bhagavad Gita, for example, begins with the words Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre. Because the Lord was present on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, it became a Dharmakshetra, a place of pilgrimage. Therefore, the Pandavas, who were extremely religious, were assured of victory. Any place where the Supreme Personality of Godhead displays His pastimes, such as Vrindavan or Dwarka, becomes a holy place. The chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is pleasing to the ear, and it expands good fortune to the audience who hears it chanted. Owing to the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Aditi was fully assured that the troublesome condition created for her by the demons would now be ended. Jai Prabhupada. Amazing purport. It's short but action-packed. There's so many, right? There's so many different routes we could take in discussing it. I'm going to take the advice of Her Grace Prabhupada Priya. She assigns the verses and she puts suggested themes, and I thought her suggested theme was really interesting, which is how to become fortunate. I was thinking about what that really means. First of all, everyone here in this temple room and anyone listening to the Bhagavatam class online is already fortunate. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya-lila chapter 19, there's a description of different living entities and the degrees of good fortune that they possess. It explains that there are both moving and non-moving living entities. Moving beings are more fortunate than the non-moving. And among the moving beings are lower animal forms and higher animal forms. Higher animal forms would be cows, lions, tigers, even monkeys. Those species are more fortunate because from there they can take a human birth in their next life. But most fortunate of all are those who have taken birth as humans. The human form of life is meant for inquiring into the absolute truth. But not everyone uses it for that purpose. Those humans who are especially fortunate come into contact with a bona fide spiritual master. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Bij. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master, and by the grace of Krishna. By the grace of Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. One can only come to Krishna consciousness if one is blessed by the mercy of a devotee. The scriptures make that very clear. Krishna is ready to bestow his mercy upon all living entities. And as soon as someone desires that mercy, the Lord immediately arranges for them to meet a bona fide spiritual master. We can see how one becomes this fortunate in the life of Srila Narada Muni. In his previous life, he was the son of a maidservant. His mother served Vaishnavas during the Chaturmasya period, where they cannot travel due to the weather. And while they rested, young Narada Muni eagerly served them, and out of their compassion, they gave him their food remnants. By that service, and by their unnoticed mercy, he gradually became a pure devotee. In his next life, he appeared as Narada Muni, the most exalted Vaishnava and one of the foremost gurus and acharyas in our tradition. So after many, many births, one may finally gain the good fortune of coming in contact with Guru and Krishna. The Padma Purana describes 4 bona fide sampradayas: Shri, Rudra, Kumara, and the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya. All are genuine, yet the moods and destinations they offer in the spiritual world are unique. When Lord Chaitanya traveled to South India, he went to Udupi and he met the Tadvavadis of the Madhva Sampradaya. He asked their acharya, "What is the ultimate goal of life?" The acharya replied, "It was to follow Varnashram Dharma perfectly, and that by dedicating the duties of Varnashram Dharma to Krishna, one becomes eligible for 5 kinds of liberations and is transferred to the spiritual world of Vaikuntha." And Lord Chaitanya replied, "Prabhu, I think you're joking with me." He continued, he said, "All the revealed scriptures establish Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Vishnu Smaranam as the ultimate spiritual path. What is this Varnashram Dharma?" And then Lord Chaitanya, he explains in great detail the 9 processes of devotional service, and he emphasized that pure devotees reject even the 5 kinds of liberation, which include living in the Vaikuntha planets, because their only goal is to serve the Lord now and forever. And Lord Chaitanya rejected that Varnashram is the ultimate goal of life because it's still fruitive, aimed at material benefit. He said devotees reject both fruitive activity and liberation, aiming only for unmotivated loving service. So there's this whole, lecture he gives, and at the end of the conversation, the Tattvacharya is very impressed, and he admits, wow, everything you've said is correct. It's factual. It is the conclusion of the revealed scriptures, as you cited. But, Madhvacharya has established this as the formula for our party, so I'm really bound to continue with this. So Lord Chaitanya concluded he didn't have much faith in that branch of the Sampradaya's ultimate goal. Lord Chaitanya also met a representative of the Sri Sampradaya in Sri Rangam, the great devotee Venkata. And he said to Venkata, I have one question. How is it that Lakshmi Devi, who is renowned as supremely chaste to Lord Vishnu, in fact is the most chaste wife in all of creation, performed austerities to attain Krishna? And Venkata replied, well, there's no difference between Krishna and Narayan. They're the same Supreme Lord. Lord Chaitanya said, oh, then why is it that Lakshmi performed so much austerity, yet Krishna, who is the same person as Narayan, would not let her enter the rasa dance? And Venkata didn't know the answer, so he very respectfully said, well, the ways of the Lord are indeed mysterious. But then Lord Chaitanya revealed that Lakshmi Devi eternally serves the Lord in the majestic mood of awe and reverence, whereas entrance into the Rasa Leela requires adopting the intimate mood of the service of the Vraj Gopis. In this way, he showed that there are gradations of spiritual intimacy and that the confidential mellows of Vrindavan are unique. And he didn't diminish in any way the glories of Lakshmi Devi or the Sri Sampradaya, but he illuminated that the special gift he came to offer, entrance into the pure, unalloyed devotion as practiced by the residents of Vrindavan. Lord Chaitanya didn't start a new lineage. He appeared in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. He took initiation from Ishvara Puri, the disciple of Madhavendra Puri in the Madhva line. Madhvacharya was an incarnation of the demigod Vayu. And he established 9 core truths called, in the Sampradaya, they call it Pramayas. Foundational principles like the eternal distinction between God and the soul, the reality of the spiritual world, and the soul's ultimate duty to serve the Lord. In our Sampradaya, we hold all of those 9 Pramayas exactly as Madhvacharya taught them, and our Sampradaya has one more that Madhvacharya did not reveal. Rasa Tattva, the most confidential science of our eternal loving relationship with Krishna in Vrindavan. Only the Supreme Lord himself can reveal this, can disclose this. And Lord Chaitanya came to do just that. And that's why we say that our position is the most fortunate. We have inherited the 9 jewels of Madhvacharya's teachings plus the priceless 10th jewel given by Lord Chaitanya himself, as well as the Sankirtan movement. We are given entrance not only to merely liberation, but entrance into the intimate service of Radha Krishna in the mood of the Vraj Gopis. A beautiful example of the differing level of good fortune among devotees is found in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita by Srila Sanatana Goswami. It contains 2 stories, and the first story is about Narada Muni searching for the most fortunate devotee. He's looking for the devotee who has received the most mercy from the Lord. I don't have time to tell the whole thing, so I'll abbreviate pieces of it. He starts with Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva says, no, not me. I haven't received the most mercy. It's Prahlad Maharaj. So Narada Muni goes to Prahlad, and he says, oh, Prahlad Maharaj, you are so fortunate. The Lord has been so merciful to you. You were put in so many dangerous situations, and in each circumstance, the Lord personally intervened to save you. But Prahlad replies, oh, no. all I did was think about the Lord. All I do is remember Lord Vishnu. No, I'm not the most exalted. I'm not the recipient of the most mercy. Hanuman personally served Lord Ramachandra. You should go visit him. He is a far greater devotee. So Narada visits Hanuman. He glorifies him, saying, you are the most fortunate devotee. Lord Ram bestowed so much mercy upon you. You are so dear to him. And Hanuman replies, oh, how am I so fortunate? When Lord Ram left the planet, all of Ayodhya went back to the spiritual world with him. Only I was not qualified. I had to stay behind. But no, I didn't get any mercy at all, and I'm not worthy of it. But when I think of the Pandavas, the Pandavas, they are so glorious. And Narada says, oh yes, the Pandavas. And Hanuman says, yes, the Pandavas. They become ecstatic. They're so exalted, the Lord resided with them. He became their messenger, their guard, their chariot driver. What didn't he do for the Pandavas? How close they are. And Narada says, yes, the Pandavas. I have to stop there, unfortunately. But so then Narada, he goes to visit the Pandavas. So it is described in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita that the Pandavas were more fortunate than Hanuman because they were more intimate with Krishna. Arjuna slept in the same bed as Krishna. The Pandavas joked and teased Krishna, and he joked with them back. Krishna served them. Do you see? Hanuman served Lord Ram. Krishna served the Pandavas. In this way, we see different degrees of intimacy within the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And within that intimacy, it's the quality of love increases. The Chaturshloki of the Srimad Bhagavatam tells us that the value of something is determined by its relationship with Krishna. Anything valuable to Krishna is truly important. And other things, even if they're important to the world, are unimportant if they have no relationship with him. It is selfless service to Krishna, not seeking benefit, only seeking his pleasure, that is the ultimate criterion for determining who is most fortunate. And in the end, has anybody read Brihad Bhagavatamrita? Or you know of it yet? So in the end, spoiler alert, who does Narada determine to be the most exalted devotee? Who has received the most mercy from the Lord? Close. Jaishnav's guess was Radharani. It's kind of like a yes and answer. The gopis of Vrindavan. They are willing to go to hell for an eternity if it will remove Krishna's headache. The gopis are the devotees who have received the most mercy from Krishna. It's the gopis who are the most fortunate, but we are also very fortunate. Lord Chaitanya invested his mercy in the brothers Rupa and Sanatan. Rupa Goswami is none other than Rupa Manjari. Lalita is the direct servant of Radharani, and Lalita understands that the best way to please Krishna is to somehow or other unite him with Radharani. That is just, it's what she does all day long. All of these kinds of intrigues and mishaps, their only goal all day is to somehow find a way to get Radha and Krishna back together. And Rupa Manjari, aka Rupa Goswami, is Lalita's direct servant. And our line is known to be as the Rupa Nuga line, the line that follows Rupa Goswami. So in that way, we are meant to be in that same mood of Gopi Bhartu Padakamale or Dasa Dasa Anudas. To serve the servants of the servants of the servants of the gopis of Radharani. And that's what that verse means, that to serve the superior Vaishnavas, and in doing so, please Krishna the most. The scriptures tell us that if one serves Krishna directly, one might get love of God. But if one serves the pure devotee of the Lord directly, one certainly will get love of God. This is the constant theme of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. Krishna is more pleased when we serve his devotees. Here's an example. Devananda Pandit was a respected Bhagavatam reciter in Navadvip, but he was not a devotee. And once a pure devotee, Srivas Thakur, went to one of his recitations. He sat in the audience, and Srivas Thakur became overwhelmed with love for Krishna. He went into ecstasy. He was weeping and crying, just rolling on the ground. And the crowd didn't understand him. They thought he was some disruptive, crazy person, so they dragged him out of the class and they threw him outside. And Devananda Pandit did nothing to stop it. This offense to Srivas greatly displeased Lord Chaitanya. He was appalled, and he avoided Devananda Pandit. Again, one of the most respected Pandit in Navadvip. Lord Chaitanya avoided him for years because he had done nothing to stop Srivas being dragged out of his class. But later on, Devananda Pandit had the good fortune to serve another pure devotee, Raksheshwar Pandit, who was a dear associate of Lord Chaitanya. He was known for his ecstatic dancing. I try to picture what that's like. I kind of blend in my mind like Radhanath Swami with Chandramouli Swami. So Raksheshwar Pandit, he was renowned for his ecstatic dancing. And Devananda Pandit, he humbly cleaned Raksheshwar Pandit's quarters. He brought him water. He cared for him with affection. He began guarding him in the kirtans because sometimes Raksheshwar Pandit would faint and Devananda Pandit would catch him, or he would massage his legs, to revive him. And when Lord Chaitanya heard about this, he completely forgave Devananda. And he blessed him with devotion. And that shows that serving a pure devotee can completely transform one's spiritual life. And this is how we can increase our good fortune. Because we already have it. We're already here out of many millions of wandering living entities, but we can increase it. Mercy is not a fixed quantity. It grows in the heart of one who serves without expectation. If we want to become more fortunate, to deepen our connection with Krishna, the answer is very simple. Serve his devotees sincerely. The more we please the Lord's servants, the more we draw his attention and his blessings. This is the surest way to multiply our spiritual fortune. And in the same way, when Lord Chaitanya chose his own spiritual master, he looked for this quality of loving service. During Madhavendra Puri's final days, when his body was incapacitated, there were disciples who neglected him. But Ishvara Puri stayed with him. He nursed him day and night. He cleaned his body because Madhavendra Puri was no longer capable of getting up and going to the bathroom by himself. Ishvara Puri cleaned him with his own hands. He spoon-fed him. He bathed him. He chanted with him. He served him with deep affection, seeing this service as the greatest treasure. Because of this, Lord Chaitanya chose Ishvara Puri as his guru. He could have had anyone in Navadvip, I'm sure anywhere in India, but that is why he chose Ishvara Puri, which teaches us that the real qualification of a spiritual master is not just learning or lineage or shlokas or nice kirtans, but pure love and service to their own guru. So, because we are aspiring Rupanuga Bhaktas, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, we are the most fortunate. Not because we're qualified, but because of the mercy we have received. Lord Chaitanya has placed us at the top, although we come from the most fallen backgrounds. And how fortunate we are to not have only come into the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, but specifically into the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Recently, I went to a movie to see the devotee film Maha Avatar Nrsimha. Show of hands who's seen it. Jason, if you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to talk to your parents. It is so incredible. So incredible. If you have the time, I mean, so wonderful. But, spoiler alert, there is this one scene in the movie where Varuna, the demigod of the ocean, he appears to Prahlad, and he says to him, a devotee like you only comes once in a millennium. And the moment I heard that line, my mind immediately went to Srila Prabhupada. And tears came to my eyes. Because it's not an exaggeration to say that a pure devotee of Prabhupada's caliber, empowered directly by Lord Chaitanya, appears only very rarely in the history of the world. If you just think of it, at 69, Srila Prabhupada left Vrindavan with no money, no support, fragile health. He crossed the ocean on a cargo ship, survived 2 heart attacks, and arrived in New York City to cold streets, strangers, and indifference. Yet in just over a decade, he circled the globe 12 times. He built 108 temples, initiated thousands, and translated more than 60 volumes of transcendental literature, all to carry forward Lord Chaitanya's mission and deliver the most fallen souls of Kali Yuga. That's why I cried. We have his books, which give us his direct association, his disciples who carry his mood, and this ISKCON movement, his gift to the world. What could be rarer than receiving the shelter of such a pure devotee, one whose entire life was nothing but an offering to Krishna? So if Prahlad Maharaj appears once in a millennium, what does it mean that Srila Prabhupada came to us in our generation? It means we've been given a treasure beyond measure, the chance to serve and follow him and to help Lord Chaitanya's mercy, to help carry Lord Chaitanya's mercy to every town and village. So in my opinion, truly we are the most fortunate. Hare Krishna. Those are my thoughts on this verse. So please, I would love to hear from you all. Say something. You won't say anything unless it's Sanskrit. Thank you, Lalita Sundri.
Thank you for the nice class, Mother. You were talking about in Chaitanya Charitamrita there is a hierarchy, like who is most fortunate. So you are talking about like tigers and monkeys are more fortunate than humans are more fortunate. So because in human life that's when we can realize our relationship with God. So I was just curious, like for example, tigers, monkeys, all these things, they have their natural dharma, right? As soon as a tiger is born, like a tiger starts acting like a tiger. As soon as a monkey is born, like a monkey. And we take human form because to develop relationship with Lord. Right. So I'm just curious why Krishna didn't imbibe that natural dharma in us as soon as we are born. Why don't we get that natural inclination to love God? Like we need to go through so much of like suffering, and finally some devotee gives us causeless mercy, and then we got attracted to the Lord. Why is it not coming naturally by birth? Whereas like other species, they naturally show their dharma as soon as they are born.
Yes, that's a wonderful question, as usual. I was looking for some notes that I had made, but there is one verse. I unfortunately deleted it, but I'll find it for you. It's in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it says that we are all born with this dormant love for Krishna, that dormant seed, but it is only activated when we come in contact with hearing and chanting. And that only happens when we come in contact with a devotee. So I'll play Venkata Bhatta here and say, the ways of the Lord are indeed mysterious. So I can't say as to why he designed the world that way. But the scriptures do explain that it's there, but it can't be activated until you hear the hearing and chanting. And we know where that comes from. That's not going to come from another tiger. It's the best I can do. Hare Krishna. Perhaps you can answer that, Mishra Bhagavan Prabhu.
I wanted to ask about this protection of Krishna. Sometimes devotees aren't protected. Like you may have read in the chapter you were talking about Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's mentioned that 1,200 followers of Ramanujacharya were killed by the Muslims in the year 1373, I think it was. So why didn't Krishna protect his devotees when they were attacked?
That's first of all, I'd love to hear your answers to your questions. I was saying that the other day, that Mishra Bhagavan Prabhu, he asks these incredible questions. Surely you have some thoughts. But what I have heard, these are things we're always going to struggle with, for sure, because not even just in this religion, because I grew up in a Judeo-Christian background, and that's actually one of the main reasons people leave the faith that I have seen, Christians, Catholics, Jews, is why do bad things happen to good people? What kind of a kind and loving God would let that happen? Oh, if bad things happen to good people, and God is supposed to be good, there must not be a God, and that's why bad things happen to good people. That is what I have seen people leave those faiths for in my life. They just can't make sense of it. So it's something that we all struggle with. My spiritual master said, sometimes people ask, why do bad things happen to good people? But bad things happen to everyone, including good people. That's the nature of the material world. That's answer one. Answer number two is, as you're saying, these are devotees. These are devotees. And Krishna says that he will always protect his devotee. He says, declare it boldly, my devotee never perishes. Well, we have to understand that when Krishna works in the world, there are always multiple reasons. And one is going to be justice and one is going to be mercy. And we can't comprehend either of those. His Holiness Radhanath Swami says that when Krishna says, declare boldly, my devotee never perishes, that is his word. It is the absolute truth, and that is infallible. How he protects his devotee, you cannot understand. You can only understand that he does. All I can say. I know we're all suffering because Gokulananda Prabhu couldn't be here to take the hard questions from me today. I don't know, there was how many people died in the Battle of Kurukshetra? 680 million that fought. I think that's how many died. To be in the Lord's service doesn't necessarily mean there won't be any kind of pain or suffering. Krishna's promise to the Pandavas was never, you will have a pain-free life. They went through every horrible thing I can possibly think of. Like, I'll make a list of things I want to never happen to me. They happened to the Pandavas. They were righteous, religious people who were unfairly cheated, thought they were playing, a friendly game, and they were cheated out of everything they owned? What had they ever done wrong? Why would that happen to them? And then they had nowhere to live, like literally homeless, sleeping on the ground in the forest for 13 years. And I was thinking about, there must have been mosquitoes. Like, I can't sit in my backyard for 5 minutes without being eaten alive. So they did that for 13 years. Not to mention their wife being dragged into, a hall, trying to be stripped naked, and they can't do anything to stop it. And then they have, how many children did they have, Jaishnav? How many children did the Pandavas have? Each had 2? Okay, so we're thinking minimum of 10 children, 10 beautiful children. who were murdered? Every single one of them? These are pure devotees of Krishna. Why is all this happening to them? Why? But Krishna never promised the Pandavas a pain-free life. He promised them spiritual protection. And he promised them that they would always have him. Hare Krishna. Bible.
Manju Gopika Mataji, thank you so much for the very lively class. It's so much, there's so much to say. Like it's just, I'm like thinking about everything you were saying, and one thought that came up from what you just said was also like the same thing with Prabhupada coming here, surviving 2 heart attacks, so much difficulty. It wasn't like he had, crowds of people supporting him as soon as he landed, and it was like a glorious entrance, like a arrival to the U.S. It was very difficult. And one thought I had, and I don't want to say this applies to like the, I don't understand the, that's also very puzzling that Muslims attacking devotees, but I've heard that also Krishna, sometimes he puts his devotees in difficult situations, not because he likes to see them suffer, but to glorify them. Like it wouldn't have been as glorious if Prabhupada had like immediately upon arrival, and even before having like made his like trip to like all of that, coming to the U.S. If he had everything kind of laid out for him, it wouldn't have been as glorious. There wouldn't be as much to appreciate almost. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. No, I think all the time, a cargo ship? A cargo ship, not even a regular ship? Cargo ship. Isn't a regular ship, they give you like, meals, not that he would cook his own meals anyway, but you know what I'm saying? They would have people to wait on you. These are just like sailors, like people loading freight. I mean, think of his association, and yeah, every little thing was just so hard for him. Any other thoughts or comments? Sorry, what was that? What was the name of? Oh, yes. So the movie is called Maha Avatar Nrsimha, and this is a devotee-made film. It's animated. It is spectacular. It is spectacular. I'm not just saying that because, like, oh, I'm a devotee and there are no devoted movies. I mean, as someone who has a degree from the performing arts, it was truly a captivating storytelling. So if you go to fandango.com, I don't think anybody's said that word on the Vyasa-san before. You can type in your zip code and it'll show you all where it plays. It's not close by because it is a foreign language film, but it has English subtitles. So I went to see the one that's in Hindi with subtitles because my husband speaks Hindi, and that was in Plano. So it's like Plano and beyond, but worth it, absolutely worth it. All right. Oh, Daniel. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you for teaching. There's a lot there to unfold, and I appreciated your coherence of teaching and structure of it, kind of developing in layers. And I'm not feeling too well today, but I took some notes, and so I have not as many as usual, but it was still a very good teaching. I'm just not very well.
Oh, thank you for being here, Daniel.
Devotees reject both fruitive activity and liberation. There are gradations of spiritual intimacy.
Oh, take this microphone. I guess the battery died. Here, Jishnav, can you take this over, please?
Is it working? Okay. Devotees reject both fruitive activity and liberation. There are gradations of spiritual intimacy. If one serves Krishna, they might receive love of God, but if one serves the devotees, they will for sure receive love of God. Our lineage of service is one of loving intimacy of the servant, of the servant, of the servant, of the servant. He promises spiritual protection, not a painless life. That's all I got.